Hey everybody, welcome to music. This week we're talking about a very important composer, Ludwig van Beethoven. Now, most people recognize two composers in the classical world, Mozart and Beethoven. We've already talked about Mozart this year, so now it's Beethoven's turn. Beethoven lived in Germany, over on the continent of Europe, and he lived during the 17 and 1800s. He was born just 5 years before America became its own country and fought the British for independence. Here's an artist drawing of Beethoven for you. Usually when we see pictures of Beethoven, his hair looks kind of messed up, and with his adult pictures, he kind of usually has a grumpy look on his face. And there's a reason Beethoven was grumpy. When Beethoven was only 26 years old, he went deaf and he couldn't hear anymore. And that really frustrated him. Wouldn't that frustrate you if you couldn't hear your parents and your friends talk to you? Or especially if music had been your whole life and you couldn't hear music anymore. Well, the good news was Beethoven knew music so well that he had studied so hard. He knew how the notes worked together and he knew what notes sounded like what, and he was still able to write music even though he couldn't hear it. Today, for kind of a special treat, I'm going to read you a story. It's a long story though, about Ludwig van Beethoven. Okay, true story. This is my book from when I was your age. Those were some of my favorite things when I was little, so I still have them. Like, see, it's for my grandparents. I'm Anna, and I think I may have scribbled my own name on there. Maybe that's an attempt at an N. I don't know. It's been a while. Now, this story is what we call historical fiction. That means it's about a real person and real events, but they throw in some pretend things for fun to make the story move along better. Like in this story, Beethoven has an imaginary cat friend. Now, I don't know if he made up an imaginary friend or not, but there definitely was not a cat following Beethoven around and talking to him. So some of the details are pretend. It's just like the little drummer dude that we did for Christmas this year. Was Jesus really born? Yes. Did the wise men come visit him afterward? Yes. Was there a little boy playing a drum who followed along with him with his traveling band? No, probably not. That's the pretend part. So, mostly true, with some pretend for fun. I like this kind of story because it helps you feel and experience what the real life may have been like instead of just hearing fact. Oh, I fell asleep. Okay. So, this is the value of giving about Ludwig van Beethoven. I'll try to hold this so you can see the pictures. There we go. Once upon a time, long, long ago, in the German city of Bonn, a little boy was born to a couple named Beethoven. "It's almost Christmas time," said the child's mother, Maria, as she held the baby close. "What a wonderful present we have. Isn't he beautiful?" But the baby's father, Jan van Beethoven, wasn't nearly so happy. "He's an ugly baby, if you ask me," said Jan, and he went off to join his friends at the tavern. There is no such thing as an ugly baby. What is wrong with that man? "Never mind," Maria whispered to the little one. "I think you're a lovely baby. Look how cute he is." Just then, Jan's father came bustling into the room. So this is the grandpa. "Wonderful, wonderful," he cried when he saw his new grandson. "You mark my words, Maria, this boy will be a fine musician some day." Maria smiled. "Like you," she said, "and like his father?" Grandfather Beethoven looked unhappy then. He did not like to think too much about Jan. Jan could have been a marvelous singer, but he wasted his days at the tavern with his ne'er-do-well friends. Maria had named the baby Ludwig after his grandfather, and as time went by, she gave him the things a good mother gives to her child. She gave him tenderness and care and love. Soon Maria noticed that Ludwig wasn't quite like other little boys. He had heard things that most children never noticed. He clapped his hands with delight when the church bells rang out. He laughed at the murmur the river Rhine made as it flowed past the city. One day, when Maria was busy with her housework, little Ludwig found the front door open. He looked out at the narrow cobbled street that ran past the house. "I wonder what's at the end of that street," said Ludwig to himself, and he decided to go and see. Ludwig sat down in a soft, grassy spot, and he listened. He heard birds singing. He heard wind rustling and the leaves rustling the leaves of the trees. He heard a faint tinkling of cowbells off in the distance. Ludwig was very young, of course, but he already knew about music, and it seemed to him that all the music in the world must have started with the sounds of nature, the sounds of wind stirring and green leaves and of birds singing. While his mother gave Ludwig love and tenderness, his grandfather gave him some wonderful adventures. Every day the old man and the child explored the city of Bonn, and on one very special day, Grandfather took Ludwig to the chapel where the Archbishop went to pray. "It's very beautiful," said Ludwig when they were inside. "Yes, it is," said Grandfather, "but you mustn't talk in church. It's forbidden." Grandfather then led Ludwig to a seat where they waited, and suddenly the church was filled with the most wonderful sound. "Grandfather, what is it?" whispered Ludwig. "It's the organ," his grandfather answered. Just then a rich tenor voice rang out. "And that is your father," said Grandfather Beethoven. His voice was sad, for the thought of his son idling away his life in the tavern always made him bitter. "He could be a great musician," said the grandfather, "if only he weren't such a wastrel." Get to the picture. As Ludwig grew bigger, he and his grandfather often went far beyond the streets of the city. There we go. They took long, rambling walks through the fields and the valleys around Bonn, and they talked about nature and about music. Sometimes, when they were tired of walking, they rowed a boat down the river Rhine. "Will we always be together?" Ludwig asked his grandfather. "Will you always take me to see wonderful things and to listen to beautiful music?" Grandfather didn't answer, and before long a day came that was different from any Ludwig had known. Ludwig was playing by himself when he realized that the house was very quiet. "Something's the matter," said the boy. "Mother hasn't gone out somewhere, and Grandfather hasn't come to take me for our walk. I'll go to Grandfather's house. Perhaps Mother is there." Indeed, when Ludwig reached the cottage where his grandfather lived, his mother was there. His father was there too, and he looked very serious. "Poor little fellow," said his mother. She put her arms around Ludwig. "Your grandfather has died," she told him. After that, Ludwig was very lonely. He still walked in the fields and listened to the birds singing, but it was not the same now. "I wish Grandfather were still here," thought Ludwig. "Perhaps if I had a little friend it would help." One day, Ludwig couldn't go to the fields because it was raining. This book fixed. It's the opposite of the way I think it needs to move. Okay. He wandered through the house and came across a curious box that his father had brought home. "I wonder what's in it," said Ludwig to himself. He looked around to see if anyone else was watching. Then he lifted the lid, and out hopped a strange little cat, who laughed and capered and told Ludwig that his name was Keys. "Just like the keys on a piano," said the cat, "or keys on this instrument." Now, of course, this is that pretend part I was talking about. Ludwig was delighted. His wish had come true. He had a little playmate. "I know I made you up," he told the cat, "but I'm going to keep you as my friend. I need a friend." "Indeed you do," said the cat. "And now that that's settled, why don't you try this instrument?" So Ludwig touched the keys on the instrument, and the room was filled with beautiful sounds. "It's wonderful," cried Ludwig. "When I play it at one end, it sounds like birds chirping. At the other end, it sounds like thunder." But then Ludwig heard someone behind him. He turned around and he began to tremble. Who do you suppose was there? It was Ludwig's father standing in the doorway. Poor Ludwig was terrified. "I'm sorry, Father," he said. I wondered what was in the box you brought home, and such beautiful sounds came out when I touched the keys that I couldn't stop." For once, Johann von Beethoven didn't shout or scold. "That is called a clavier," he said quietly. But he sat down and began to play. Ludwig listened. At first, the music gave him a peaceful feeling. Then it grew livelier, and it excited him, and sometimes it made him feel sad. When Jan stopped playing, he turned to Ludwig. "Would you like to learn how to do it?" he asked. "Could I really?" cried Ludwig. "I don't see why not," said Jan. "I will teach you." Ludwig's mother came home that day and found Jan teaching Ludwig how to play the clavier. "Look, Mother!" cried Ludwig. Father's giving me lessons. Oh, that is grand, cried his mother. Jan, it warms my heart to see you giving your time to your son. Jan smiled a secret smile. He was thinking of a young musician named Mozart, who had become a famous pianist and composer at the age of 9. Mozart was a child prodigy, and he made lots of money, thought Jan. I will make sure that Ludwig becomes a prodigy too. He can make money for me. Poor little Ludwig. His father was not the giving sort. Quite the opposite. Jan van Beethoven intended to take all that he could from the child. Ludwig learned quickly. Every time the boy played, Jan dreamed of the money Ludwig might make. Soon he was forcing Ludwig to practice long hours. Please, Father, said Ludwig one day, I love the music, but I'm tired right now. Can't I rest for a bit? You can rest when we're rich, shouted his father. Right now you can practice. And he brought a stick down on Ludwig's hands. Now, I think you should practice your piano. I think you should practice it as long as your teacher says you should. What Ludwig was doing is nothing like this, so don't take this and say, oh, Mom, Dad, you're being like the daddy in Ludwig van Beethoven's story and making me practice for 8 hours a day. You don't have that kind of time. Practice your piano. Okay, you can rest when we're rich, shouted his father. Right now you can practice. Jan, stop, cried Ludwig's mother. You'll hurt him. He'll be a great musician, shouted Jan. He'll make heaps of money. Now stop sniveling, Ludwig, to work. In spite of the shouting and the rages and the weariness, Ludwig did love the music. When his father wasn't at home, he sometimes played just for himself in keys. In a few years, Ludwig had learned everything that his father could teach him, and he began to make a little money from playing in the homes of the wealthy people of Bonn. It isn't much, he told Keys, but it gives me a chance to play in front of people, and if Father doesn't spend it all at the tavern, perhaps I can buy some nice things for Mother. Ludwig was about 10 when his father came home one night and brought a friend with him. The man's name was Tobias, and he had been a great musician in Frankfurt. Tobias was like Jan, however. He spent too much time in the tavern. Get up, Ludwig, bellowed Jan. Tobias has come to hear you play. Ludwig didn't argue when his father shouted that way. He tumbled out of bed, and so did Keys. Very good, said Tobias when he heard Ludwig play. The boy has talent. I will give him lessons. And Tobias began to teach Ludwig. Tobias was a better musician than Jan and a finer teacher, but he never started his lessons with Ludwig until the tavern was closed. Then he came roaring in, and Jan made Ludwig get out of bed and play for him. Be brave, Ludwig, whispered Keys. Forget that you are sleepy. Just think of the music and it will be all right. Ludwig's mother cried when Jan shouted at the boy, but she couldn't stop her husband, so she couldn't do much about her 2 younger sons either. They liked to tease Ludwig about his looks. They told him that he was ugly and that dogs barked at him when he walked down the street. Why would anybody do that to somebody else? Is that helpful? No, it's not. Would you want that done to you? No, you wouldn't. So you be sure you don't do that to others. Don't pay any attention, said Keys. Looks aren't important. When you become a great musician, that is what people will see, only your greatness. Ludwig tried to believe what Keys said to him, and before long he had such a stroke of luck that he thought it might really come true. An excellent musician named Christian.Elem.Beethoven heard Ludwig play, and he was impressed. You shall promise, said Neef. You still have much to learn, of course. I will give you lessons, and I will teach you to compose. That means write music. I've already composed some little pieces, said Ludwig, and he played them for Herr Neef. Excellent, said Neef. In time, you should be really good. Ludwig was delighted, and so was Keys. Of course, Ludwig enjoyed the company of his small friend, so he kept the little cat with him while he practiced every day. He no longer practiced at home on the clavier. Now he played the organ in the church. And Keys was there the day that Neef came to announce that Ludwig was to play for the Elector. Let's go on to the second video.